Real Virginia is proudly produced by the Virginia Farm Bureau. This year, we are celebrating a century of serving Virginians. Visit our website at vafb.com.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Real Virginia, a show about Virginia agriculture and the people who produce the wonderful local products we enjoy, brought to you by the Virginia Farm Bureau. This week we're in Louisa County at Micah Springs Farm, where Carl Vaya raises horses and cattle. We'll learn more about farriers later in the episode, but first, here's what's coming up on this week's show. Travel to Southwest Virginia to uncover the smooth connection between these goats and your next skincare routine. Join Chef Tammy to learn how to make a delicious green tomato salsa. And explore the agricultural diversity of Nottoway County.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay, Atlantic to Appalachia, home in my heart always.
I'm Elijah Griles, and I grew up on my family's farm in Central Virginia. Join me to discover the people and stories of Virginia agriculture from the farm. While we've all seen horses like Sam here, we don't always think about their hooves. So we're going to learn about the essential role of farriers. Welcome to From the Farm. We are here in Louisa County now, and I am with Carl Vaya. Could you start by telling us a little bit about what you do?
So I'm a farrier, been a farrier for 23 years, and I just travel from barn to barn and shoe horses. It's up to us as a farrier to help them and keep the rider safe, keep the horse safe, and keep them sound.
What is the easiest way to think about this in terms we might be familiar with? Is this kind of like the cleat for an athlete on the field?
100%. Yeah, like you wouldn't let a football player run across the field in leather bottom cowboy boots. You know, he's not exactly going to, be able to get around his defender with slick shoes on. So, a football cleat is the shoe of choice. When you're playing football, you kind of choose your shoe for whatever you're doing. So it's the same with horses.
We are in Powhatan County at Oakdale Equestrian Center. Can you start by introducing yourself and telling us what this farm means to you?
I'm Terry Adcock, and I'm the owner of Oakdale Farm. And this farm means everything to me. It's like my life's passion. We have 3 or 4 different things that people do here, and we have everything that they need. We have people that do eventing, we have people that do dressage, and we have people that just trail ride.
When did you first become a horse person? Take us back to that moment.
When I was 10 years old, my dad said we were too poor. He couldn't give me a horse. He was going to give me a cow. And so he woke up Christmas morning. I went down to the barn. He says, I got your cow. And I looked in the stall, and it was black and white. I was all excited about the cow, and it turned around, and it was a pony. And so that was my first start.
So we're also talking about farriers today. Tell us what a farrier is and why exactly you need one.
If you didn't trim horses' feet and they weren't in the wild where they were rubbing it off every day, running, horses that run 24 hours a day, they go rub their feet down. But these horses that are in their stalls 12 hours a day, their hooves are going to keep growing. They're not going to wear them down. So a farrier has to cut the hoof off, has to keep it level, and then if they wear it off too much because they're in gravel rings all the time, then he has to put shoes on to protect their feet. So he has to know a whole lot about everything.
And it sounds like it's essential for what you do.
Oh yeah, you can't, if you don't have a hoof, you don't have a horse.
Now I'm with Terry's farrier, Rod DeVries. Tell me about what you do.
I'm a farrier in Central Virginia, and I trim and put shoes on horses' feet.
How often are you coming out here?
I come here every Wednesday morning. I get here at 9 o'clock. I'm usually here to, say, 1 or 2 o'clock every Wednesday. And So each horse is done every 5 weeks.
How do you know the horse is comfortable and it's successful what you're doing?
Usually by the owner who's riding him. Important relationship to have with your owner is for them to be able to come to you and say, this horse doesn't feel right, and then we might investigate further.
What are some of the most satisfying moments for you once you've worked on a horse?
Taking a lame horse, a horse that's not sound, and making him sound is very rewarding.
The way I've heard it described is a horse is kind of like us, and these are their toes.
Yeah, they're walking on the bones that are in your finger, the tip of the bone that's in the tip of your finger is the bone that's in the bottom of their foot.
And the hoof is just like our fingernail.
Right.
So is it like giving them a manicure?
Yeah, pretty much. A little more expensive, probably.
When you pick up a horse's hoof for the first time, what are you looking for?
Well, it starts when the horse walks in the barn. I see the way he's walking. I see if they're sound. I see how their foot's landing on the floor. I can see distortion from feet away. Like as the horse is coming in. And so I have my initial evaluation as it comes in. I may see, start to see distortion. Then all I do is confirm that when the horse arrives. And then I pick up the foot and hold it in my hand. And all of those steps help confirm my initial thought when it walked up. And then as soon as that foot lands in my lap, I immediately get to work.
You forge your own shoes. Mm-hmm. Tell us about that process and how it connects to actually taking care of that hoof.
The horse needs something a little bit different, a little added traction, a little lack of traction, or a little support, I'll hand make it, so that way I can put everything exactly where I want it. You start with straight bar stock, so you have to bend the toe bend, you have to bend the branches, you have to forge a heel onto it, and then you start asking yourself, why am I forging this heel this way? Because it didn't fit that horse very well. So you start forging heels to fit that specific foot, that specific horse. So we've gone from a straight piece of steel to a horseshoe.
What separates the best of the best from the rest?
If you can take a horse that has a lot of distortion and foot and then trim it and make it look like you were actually never there to start with is a huge accomplishment.
For someone who has really reached the highest level of your craft, where do you go from here?
This is one of the oldest trades in the world, and I owe everything I have and I'm able to duplicate. I'm only just regurgitating what I've been taught, and so I just hope to pass it forward to next generation. That's the next thing I have to look forward to.
"2026 marks the International Year of the Woman Farmer. To celebrate, Real Virginia will spotlight females who are an integral part of Virginia agriculture in each episode.
Born and raised in Halifax County, Laura Hudson's connection to the outdoors started early, through long days fishing and hunting near her home. Those experiences shaped her respect for nature and gave her a responsibility to care for it. That passion turned into a path. A natural resources class in high school led her to Virginia Tech. With a goal of coming back home, she started as an area forester with the Virginia Department of Forestry. Today, Laura is the Southern Piedmont Regional Supervisor for the Virginia Department of Conservation and Recreation's Natural Heritage Program. She oversees stewardship across 11 counties, managing natural areas of statewide significance. From prescribed burns to invasive species control, her work helps keep Virginia's landscapes healthy. For Laura Hudson, it's more than a career. It's a commitment to the land and the place she calls home. We're proud to spotlight Laura Hudson as part of our International Year of the Woman Farmer series.
This week, The Yield takes us to Russell County, where the Bates family is busy turning their goat's milk into sensational skincare products. Despite the soothing aromas, behind each bottle is the action-packed journey from farm to shelf.
My name is Joseph Bates. We're in Russell County, Virginia, at Bates Family Farm. When I retired out of the Marine Corps, I was disabled for medical reasons. Because they disabled me, I had enough to live off of. And I figured I'd go up in the mountains and I'd raise goats. And I'd just live off the milk and the cheese, and I'd learn how to make wine, and I'd just kind of be my own little tree hugger, so to speak. We were dead broke. Me and my wife rented an old log cabin, and we got our goats and we started raising them. And a year or so later, when we started milking the goats, we had too much milk. And we were trying to figure out what to do with it because we had to pour it out. And we remembered we had done this class on making cheese at this other farm like a year earlier. And they had added a class on how to make lotions and soaps and stuff. So we sat back and watched it. And my wife goes, well, we could try to make lotions, but it'll never go anywhere. And I said, why not? And then over the next 2 years, we got a couple stores to start carrying us. We were selling more lotions and soaps than we were selling produce. So we were kind of like, maybe we need to focus on these lotions and soaps here. And we basically saved up our money. We bought the farm that we're at now, which is 9 acres, and we run about 100 goats. And we sell it all through the United States. We sell to about 1,000 stores. We've just made it, we don't make a lot of money, but we make enough, we're happy. What we do is we got about 100 goats, and the goats will come into the room. The people will milk them. It goes into another room with a cooling tank. We store it for 3 days, and then it goes into a pasteurizer so we can kill any bad antibodies or anything that could possibly be in that goat milk. And we'll either use it for goat milk to sell directly, to feed the baby goats, or it'll go over to the processing center. When it goes over to the processing center, we automatically freeze it. It's good for 1 year frozen. So then we pull it out of the freezers as we're processing, and we begin making goat milk lotion, which we complement with olive oil and shea butter. Those and distilled water are the top ingredients. That's 96% of the recipe. The water hydrates, the olive oil moisturizes, the goat milk heals, and the shea butter coats your skin so it traps it on there, so it can't escape. So it's sitting there working on your skin all day long, healing it, moisturizing it, making it look great again. And that's exactly how the product works, and that's why we sell so much of it. My advice for someone if they want to do it is you got to remember it's not an easy life. Goats are 7 days a week, whether you want to or not. And if you do dairy goats, you've got to milk them every day when it's milking season. You can't take days off or anything like that, or they'll dry off. So if you want to get into it, you got to understand you're getting into it. But it's well worth it. It was great for me. I had a lot of PTSD issues when I got out of the Marine Corps, and they actually got me through it. Mine was from medical stuff, not the war stuff. I had cancer really bad. And the goats actually helped me snap out of it. And I got a lot better in life. I still revert back every now and then, but I just got to go spend some time with the goats.
My name is Becky Owings, and I'm the assistant manager of the bookstore here at Yoder's Country Market. So Yoder's is a specialty gift store, bookstore, pretty much anything you can think of. We like to source a lot of local products and support our community. We have a petting zoo that the children and parents love as well, and ice cream throughout the summer that everyone loves, and just a really neat special store that's different than your big box stores. So most of our body care products here at Yoder's are locally made. We started bringing Bates Family Farm products in 2022, and we started with just some lotions at first, and they sold very well, so we expanded that into their body butters and their soaps as well. I really like that their soaps have the ability to help repel ticks, which in Virginia is kind of a big deal. And one of the reasons we really like the Bates Goat Milk Soap is because of its natural ingredients. It's gentle. People with skin irritations and skin issues won't have a problem using the goat's milk products. We get our products shipped directly from the farm to here, and when it comes in, I'll take it out there, and every day we'll restock where we've sold out. Just set that all out. We keep it well stocked all throughout the year. Madison, Virginia is a really tight-knit, small town. Everybody knows everybody. So sourcing local is important to us because we like to support our community. It's very important to keep us all, supporting each other, knowing where the products come from, being able to talk to the farmers or the vendors or whatever is very important to us and to our customers as well. Advice for someone who is thinking about starting their own, maybe a little small store, would be to reach out to your friends, your neighbors, your community, see what kinds of things that they have a niche for or they enjoy doing, and can you combine that all together into something you can offer to your community.
On these sweltering summer days, there's nothing like crunching into chips and a cool, zesty salsa. Chef Tammy shows us how to make it with green tomatoes in the heart of the home.
Hi, I'm Chef Tammy Brawley from the Green Kitchen, and welcome to Heart of the Home. Today we are working with undoubtedly one of my very favorite ingredients. If you've watched me on this show before, how many times I know you hear me say that, but this is definitely one of my favorites. I love working with green tomatoes. There is certainly more to life than frying them, but I do love doing that as well. And just so you know, when I fry mine, it's just flour and salt and pepper. But last year, I had so many left on my vine, I was like, I need to do something with the green ones. Certainly I wanted to get them out there before they turned red, because those nasty little rodents called squirrels would take my red tomatoes. So I brought in a bunch of green ones, and I came up with a green tomato salsa, which I absolutely love. And they can have a little bit of red to them. That's totally fine. They don't have to be completely green. And then we want to dice them up really, really small. And then we've got some purple onion that we're going to use. So we're going to toss in the onion. I believe the recipe you're going to see probably doesn't have measurements on it, and welcome to my world. But it really does depend on, how much you want. Are you doing this for a party? Are you doing this for just a couple of people at your house? So you want to judge how many extra ingredients based on how many tomatoes you want to chop up. In this case, I believe we diced up 2 tomatoes, if I'm not mistaken, and you want to get that purple onion in there. You're looking for some color on that. I think I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more. You're looking for a nice balance of color more than anything else. And then we have some garlic. Probably have about 4 cloves here, I guess. Again, no measurements there, but if you're not a garlic fan, then use less. I don't recommend leaving it out completely, but if you are a garlic fan like me, then you're going to use it all. So we're going to stir in some chopped garlic there. And then we want some lime juice. Maybe about a tablespoon or 2. Again, it's going to depend on how many tomatoes and how much of solid ingredients you have chopped. And you certainly want to taste it more than anything else. We're going to go ahead and add some salt. Tomatoes always benefit from salt, and that's in every single recipe. So we're going to stir that up. And then we've got some nice chopped cilantro that we're going to add. And I know that we've got some folks out there that don't like cilantro, and it's not your fault. Folks that don't like cilantro are actually born with an enzyme in their taste buds that make them think that cilantro tastes like soap and dirt. That is certainly your choice. If you don't want to use cilantro in this recipe, I don't see any reason why you couldn't maybe use basil. I think basil would be a nice addition to it. We're picking up some gorgeous green color there. And now, kind of my sort of a secret ingredient, we'll say, is some candied jalapenos. If you've seen my show before, we actually did do this in October of 24, so you can refer back to the YouTube stations and find this particular recipe. Now, these are peppers out of my garden, both, I think I have jalapeno in here and maybe some banana as well. I'm not going to go over how to do it today, but what happens is you end up making this nice spicy honey as well. So we're just going to add a few of these jalapenos in here along with a little taste of that honey. And what we're going to end up with, which is my favorite flavor profile, is a sweet and spicy together. I absolutely love doing that. And now we want to certainly taste it and make sure that we've got enough seasoning in it. Wow. I think a little bit more lime juice. touch more salt. You know, one of the things I also like to teach people about is what if we had added too much salt? How would we counter that? I would actually turn right around and add more acid. I would do more lime juice. Same thing with the juice. If you add too much juice, too much lemon juice, too much lime juice, counteract that with a little bit of salt. They sort of go hand in hand. And so this is a delicious thing to do with your tomatoes at the end of the summer, specifically if you want to keep those squirrels from getting them. And we're going to plate it into a nice pretty bowl with some chips around. Perfect little appetizer for yourselves, for your dinner parties, poolside, sitting out on the deck. All right. And there you have it, an easy peasy salsa recipe to create. I'm Chef Tammy Brawley from the Green Kitchen. Join us next time on Heart of the Home.
Whether they raise cattle and row crops or poultry and tobacco, Nottoway County's family farms are proud to carry on an agricultural legacy that's growing to the future. Mike Boyack takes us there in this week's County Close-Up.
With over 300 farms covering more than 50,000 acres, Nottoway County knows agriculture. The bulk of the business resides in livestock and poultry, while tobacco, wheat, corn, soybeans, and hay give Nottoway a diverse array of crops. Join me as we explore the farms, people, and beauty of Nottoway County. For generations, the Triple R farm has operated as a dairy farm, until 2020 when Andy Ware started to take over the family operation. With the time and labor demands of a dairy farm not ideal for a small operation, Andy decided to shift his focus to beef cattle.
My grandmother started in Bedford County, Virginia, had a dairy farm there. She moved here in 1976, bought the property that we're on now, and we were a dairy farm up until 2020. Then we sold the dairy cows, moved into Angus and Wagyu cattle. My parents getting older, kind of wanting to slow down some, and it was a lot more work than they wanted to do and a lot more than I could handle by myself. So between that and not having trouble finding labor to work.
The Triple R provides a direct-to-consumer beef sale where customers can pre-order the amount and type of beef they want.
We're running about around 300 head of mama cows, raising our calves out, and then we keep about, 60 to 80 Wagyu that we feed out and we sell them directly to the consumer. Do beef shares, quarter cows, halves, wholes, whatever. And we find a lot of repeat customers and people love it, so it's been going pretty good.
Along with the beef cattle, Triple R Farms is diversified with row crops, which are a necessity to help offset when beef prices are low.
Without diversity, we probably wouldn't be here today, because a lot of times in the ag fields, like right now, beef is selling great at all-time highs, and crops are really at probably an all-time low. So you have the beef side can help out the crop side when in this situation, and then 10 years from now, it might be the exact opposite, So as long as you have somewhere you can make a little money, keep the rest of it afloat.
With labor being a concern, sometimes you have to rely on new technologies to get the job done.
It definitely helps a lot. I'm kind of new to it so far, but getting the hang of it, and it's been a great help being able to run over a lot of acreage by myself, kind of do it all, one-man deal. Not running over any crops, give you a put fungicide on corn that's taller than something you could run a machine over top of is a big benefit. We're going to use it this fall, spreading cover crop seed, stuff like that. The technology is great when it's working. It can be a headache sometimes to work on. You have a wire that's got a break in it or something like that, it can really be a headache, but when it's working, it's awesome.
Much like the Triple R, Watson Farms had to change as well in recent years. For over 30 years, Pete Watson raised broiler chickens for Tyson Foods. But when the local processing plant closed, Mr. Watson and other farms had to make a change.
I've been here since 1986. We bought the farm back then. My daughter was just being born. And we come in 1990. I put bird houses in, the first two. We raised broilers for Tyson Foods. And in 2016, I think it was, we put the two big broiler houses in. So we had like 140,000 birds here every 6 weeks.
Several other farms were affected by the Tyson closure, so along with Mr. Watson, they too changed from broilers to egg-laying chickens and formed a co-op.
When Tyson shut down, we went in and formed a co-op. 5 or 6 of us went to Indiana. We come back and Dutch Country got in touch with us, and actually They shut down in April and May, and in September, I brought the first house of pullets back from Indiana. We would like to get this co-op to grow probably to 1 million birds of butter, and we're still raising pullets. We've probably got 1.5 million pullets in the field right now we raise for other companies.
With all the challenges this new endeavor poses to Watson Farms, the motivation is obvious.
Grandkids make you do a lot of stuff you don't plan on. My wife said we're crazy. I shouldn't be doing this, but it is what it is, and I enjoy it, and I like the cows, I like the chickens. It's just another chapter. My son, like I said, will be taking over. My daughter lives in Virginia Beach, her girls, and it's leaving something for them. You know, if that's how I see it. It's just a legacy, I reckon. And,
From changes to the constant, the Country Basket at Sunny Slope Orchard has been a mainstay in Nottoway County for over 100 years.
At Sunny Slope Orchard, we're in Burkeville, Virginia, and what we do is we pick peaches for everyone, for the whole community. There's probably about 20 acres of peaches. There are a few apple trees and nectarine trees and et cetera, but overall peach trees. And every day we pick from 6 o'clock to 9, 10 o'clock sometimes, and we supply the community with peaches. We've been doing this since 1908. It was 600 acres at one point. Now we're down, like I said, to about 20, but it's never ceased to exist. There's always been peaches.
Straight from the orchard to the Country Basket. For generations, families have been stopping here to get their peaches.
Right from here, we get onto Orchard Road and onto 360, and they come right to the fruit stand. Put them on the table, sell all day. Some of them, if we have too many, we'll put them in the packing shed or cold storage. But essentially that day, the peaches that you're getting were picked that day.
A landmark in the community, Country Basket at Sunny Slope Orchard has been proud to be a part of Nottoway County and plans to keep feeding and hiring the people of this rich agricultural area.
It's a staple, and it's there to stay, but yeah. People have been coming there for a long time. That's the #1 peach place in Southern Virginia right there, yeah. Maybe all of Virginia, I don't know. Good people in Nottoway County in general. A lot of really nice folks. And really loyal to us over the years. You know, they shop with us, and and like I said, their families have shopped with us forever. And we, you know, it's funny too, like you'll have people that have shopped with us for, you know, all these years, and then they'll have like a grandson or a great-grandson, and this happens all the time now, and they're working for us now. So like that really adds to the flavor too, you know, that these are really good customers, and now, you know, now their grandchild is working for us, you know.
A resilient farming community prepared to meet the changing landscape. Nottoway County has the roots and the determination to be a successful agricultural community for years to come. For Real Virginia, I'm Mike Voyak.
We're so glad you could join us to celebrate all the bounty Virginia has to offer. From the kitchen to your home and garden to our beautiful wide open spaces, we're proud to say that this is Real Virginia. For everyone from the Virginia Farm Bureau, thanks for watching. Make it a great week.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay.